The film begins by introducing a group of close friends named Kevin, Chris, Chloe, Izzy, and Maddie. Ever since their high school days, they had dreamed of becoming famous, so they started their own YouTube channel together. As their videos slowly gained popularity and attracted a loyal audience, the group decided to pursue YouTube as a full-time career after graduation. Their channel became well known for trying strange and unusual games. Sometimes they played them purely for entertainment, while other times they explored paranormal legends to prove that supernatural forces didn't actually exist. One day, while planning their next video, Kevin reminds everyone that their budget is running low. Because of that, they have to postpone any expensive trips and instead focus on filming somewhere nearby. Kevin then introduces the team to Ryan, a young fan who admires their work. Although Ryan is still a student, he's eager to help the YouTubers with anything they need. As everyone struggles to come up with a fresh idea, Ryan suggests a mysterious ritual that's becoming incredibly popular among teenagers: the elevator game. According to the legend, if someone rides an elevator while following a very specific sequence of floors, they can open a gateway to the spirit world. But the ritual comes with a terrifying warning. If even a single step is performed incorrectly, a horrifying demon appears and brutally tears its victim apart. Ryan also reveals that just a few blocks away from their studio stands an apartment building where a young girl recently disappeared under mysterious circumstances. While the police claim that the girl simply ran away from home, Ryan refuses to believe that story. He's convinced that the real reason behind her disappearance is the terrifying ghost known as the Woman on the Fifth Floor, a supernatural entity believed to haunt anyone who dares to play the elevator game. A little later, Kevin gets on a call with one of their sponsors, while Chloe takes Ryan on a quick tour of their small office. She treats him warmly, makes him feel welcome, and even gives him her phone number in case he ever needs to contact her. It's clear that she already trusts the young fan. When they return to the main room, the atmosphere suddenly changes. Kevin reveals that the sponsor is furious about the way his product was featured in their previous video. He gives them a strict warning. If they don't upload a brand new video within a week, he'll terminate their sponsorship deal. With their biggest source of income now at risk, Kevin realizes they don't have the luxury of waiting. He immediately decides that their next video will be about the mysterious elevator game Ryan mentioned earlier. Although the rest of the team isn't convinced that chasing another paranormal legend is a good idea, they know they have no better option. Everyone is assigned a specific role, and the preparations begin. They spend hours researching every detail of the ritual, carefully studying the exact sequence of floors, reading countless online stories, and analyzing people's experiences to make sure they don't miss a single step. Once they're satisfied with their research, the team packs all of their cameras, lights, microphones, and filming equipment before heading to the apartment building where the mysterious ghost is rumored to appear. After arriving, they quickly set everything up and prepare to begin filming. Chris, Maddie, and Chloe take their places in front of the camera, while Kevin, Izzy, and Ryan stay behind the scenes to monitor the footage and control the recording remotely. As the cameras start rolling, Chris introduces the purpose of today's video. Chloe explains the terrifying legend of the mysterious woman who supposedly lives in a strange red world beyond the elevator. Finally, Maddie carefully explains the rules of the ritual to the audience. According to the legend, the elevator must stop on the floors in this exact order: 4th, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 10th, 5th, and finally the 1st floor. The story also warns that when the elevator reaches the 5th floor, a mysterious woman will silently enter the elevator and stand behind the passengers. Maddie continues explaining the most important rule of the ritual. The moment the elevator stops on the 5th floor, no one is allowed to turn around or speak to the mysterious woman who enters. To stay safe, he advises everyone to keep their eyes closed and remain completely silent until the elevator starts moving again. Chris and Chloe then explain the terrifying consequences of breaking those rules. According to the legend, anyone who speaks to the ghost will be brutally torn apart. Even worse, anyone who dares to look at her will have their soul cursed forever. After finishing the introduction, the team finally steps inside the elevator and prepares to begin the real challenge. Meanwhile, Ryan, Izzy, and Kevin stay outside in their control room, carefully monitoring every camera feed on a tablet. Everything seems normal at first. The elevator reaches the 4th floor, where Chloe begins telling the story of Becky, the young girl who mysteriously disappeared after attempting the elevator game. They continue the ritual exactly as instructed, moving to the 2nd floor, then the 6th, and back down to the 2nd once again. While watching the live footage, Izzy suddenly notices strange interference appearing on the monitor. Assuming it's nothing more than a technical glitch, she ignores it. But as the elevator reaches the 10th floor, something far more unsettling begins to happen. The lights inside the elevator start flickering violently, instantly filling the small space with fear. A terrified Maddie suggests ending the challenge and taking the stairs instead, but Chloe refuses. She insists that if they've already come this far, they have to complete the ritual exactly as the legend describes. Before pressing the button for the 5th floor, Chris tries to build suspense by reminding everyone that this is the floor where the mysterious woman is supposed to enter the elevator. Half-jokingly, he even suggests taking a quick look at her. Maddie immediately rejects the idea and forces Chris to promise that he won't turn around under any circumstances. But just as the elevator is about to continue its journey, Ryan notices something unexpected. A security guard is walking straight toward the building's entrance. The moment Ryan notices the security guard approaching, he quickly warns Kevin and Izzy to hide both themselves and the filming equipment before they're caught. At the very same time, the elevator reaches the 5th floor. Remembering the rules of the ritual, everyone inside immediately closes their eyes and remains completely silent, waiting for the doors to close once again. But Chris can't control his curiosity. Despite promising Maddie that he wouldn't look, he secretly opens his eyes for just a brief moment. As soon as the elevator doors close, he pretends as though nothing happened. No one notices that he has already broken the most important rule of the game. Chloe then reminds everyone to press the button for the 1st floor. According to the legend, if the ritual has been performed correctly, the elevator shouldn't actually go down. Instead, it should mysteriously travel upward to another destination. When the elevator suddenly starts ascending, everyone inside panics, believing the ritual has actually worked. However, instead of reaching a supernatural world, the elevator stops on the 9th floor. A man who has been working late casually steps inside, looking completely confused as he finds a group of teenagers standing silently in the elevator during the middle of the night. The strange interruption leaves everyone feeling both relieved and unsettled. Meanwhile, Kevin and Izzy return to the monitoring equipment, trying to figure out why the live camera feed suddenly disappeared. While hiding from the security guard, they had left the tablet unattended, so neither of them knows exactly when or why the signal was lost. After returning to the 1st floor, the team discovers another major problem. Because of the technical issues, most of the footage they had just filmed has been completely erased. Hoping to save both the video and their sponsorship, Ryan suggests filming the entire challenge again, this time with everyone inside the elevator along with all of the recording equipment. Chris immediately refuses, saying they don't have enough time to repeat everything. That's when Ryan finally reveals the real reason he wanted to join their team. He exposes a shocking secret. Chris personally knew the missing girl, Becky. She had been a huge fan of their channel, and Chris had taken advantage of her admiration to sleep with her. Ryan then reveals the truth that leaves everyone speechless. Becky wasn't just another fan, she was his own sister. It also becomes clear that Chris was the very person who introduced Becky to the terrifying elevator game that eventually led to her disappearance. Chris was the one who convinced Becky to try the elevator game. He promised that if she recorded herself completing the challenge, the video would make her famous overnight. Completely in love with him and desperate to impress him, Becky agreed without a second thought. She attempted the terrifying ritual all by herself and never came back. After hearing the truth, Izzy and Chloe explode with anger. They accuse Chris of cruelly taking advantage of Becky's feelings and manipulating her for his own benefit. Ryan, however, isn't interested in revenge. With tears in his eyes, he desperately begs the group to help him find his missing sister. But instead of accepting responsibility, Chris starts shouting, insisting that none of it was his fault. His loud argument attracts the attention of the security guard, who storms into the building and immediately throws everyone out. He warns them that if they ever trespass there again, he'll call the police without hesitation. Outside the building, Ryan apologizes to Chloe for lying about his true intentions. Chloe doesn't forgive him completely, but she sincerely wishes him luck in finding Becky before walking away. Later that evening, as Chloe enters the hallway of her apartment building, Chris calls her, hoping to discuss what they should do next. Chloe tells him they can talk tomorrow because something else has suddenly caught her attention. Ever since leaving the elevator earlier that day, she's been hearing a strange and unsettling sound that refuses to stop. Before she can explain anything further, the phone call suddenly cuts off without warning. At the very same time, Chris arrives home completely unaware of the danger waiting for him. Without any warning, every light inside the house suddenly goes out. An invisible force grabs him, lifts him helplessly into the air, and leaves him completely unable to move or even scream. Then, standing before him, is the horrifying woman from the 5th floor. Frozen with terror, Chris can only watch as the ghost slowly crushes every bone in his body. Finally, with one swift movement, she twists his neck, killing him instantly, before vanishing into thin air as if she had never been there. At the very same time, Ryan decides that waiting any longer isn't an option. Determined to find his missing sister, he secretly returns to the apartment building and enters the elevator alone. Remembering every rule of the ritual, he carefully follows the exact sequence of floors without making a single mistake. When the elevator reaches the 5th floor, Ryan immediately closes his eyes and remains completely silent. Even though he can clearly feel someone standing right beside him, he refuses to open his eyes or say a single word. Moments later, the elevator begins moving again. As the doors finally open, Ryan realizes he is no longer in the normal world. He steps into a corridor bathed entirely in a deep crimson light. As he continues walking, he finds himself on an eerie street where everything around him glows blood red. Looking up at the sky, he notices terrifying crimson symbols floating above him, making it clear that he has entered a completely different dimension. A few moments later, Ryan spots the silhouette of a woman standing in the distance. Believing it might be Becky, he slowly walks toward her. But as he gets closer, he realizes the horrifying truth. It's not his sister at all. It's a terrifying demon. Ryan immediately turns around and runs for his life before the creature can reach him. Meanwhile, Izzy suddenly remembers that one of their cameras was left inside the elevator. Since it contains most of the footage they recorded earlier, she asks Kevin to accompany her so they can retrieve it. After stepping inside the elevator, Izzy jokingly suggests that they should have some fun by repeating the elevator game themselves. At first, everything seems normal. But the moment the elevator reaches the 5th floor, the lights suddenly go out. Before either of them can react, a ghostly hand suddenly pierces straight through Kevin's body. Izzy doesn't even get the chance to escape. The woman on the 5th floor mercilessly slaughters both of them, leaving no hope of survival. At the same time, Ryan desperately searches for a way back to the real world. Trapped inside the terrifying red dimension, he repeatedly calls the elevator and, at the very last second, manages to jump inside just before the demon catches him. Once the doors close, he notices a video camera lying on the floor. Curious, he plays the recording, only to witness the horrifying footage of the woman on the 5th floor brutally murdering both Kevin and Izzy. After escaping the horrifying red dimension, Ryan finally makes it back to the real world. Without wasting a second, he calls Chloe and urgently asks her to come to the office. Still shaken by everything he witnessed, he tells her that the legend is completely real and that every terrifying story about the elevator game is true. At the same time, Maddie is sitting alone at a bus stop, trying to process everything that has happened. Suddenly, he looks up and comes face to face with the horribly disfigured ghost of the woman on the 5th floor. Terrified, he immediately runs away and rushes straight to the office. When Maddie reunites with Chloe and Ryan, he explains everything he saw. Hoping to protect himself from the supernatural entity, he reveals that he surrounded himself with a circle of salt, believing it would keep the ghost away. Chloe then shares the disturbing information she has uncovered while researching the building's dark history. More than 10 years earlier, a group of college students cruelly trapped a freshman girl named Allie inside the elevator shaft as part of a hazing ritual. They planned to leave her there for only a couple of hours, but after getting drunk, they completely forgot about her. Allie remained trapped inside the shaft for the entire weekend with no way to escape. Eventually, the elevator car came crashing down, crushing her spine. But that wasn't what actually killed her. Somehow, her body became tangled in the elevator cables, and she was slowly ripped apart in one of the most horrifying deaths imaginable. Her mutilated body wasn't discovered until several days later. According to the legend, Allie's restless spirit became the terrifying woman on the 5th floor. Just as Chloe finishes telling the story, the ghost suddenly appears inside the office. To everyone's horror, she walks straight across Maddie's protective circle of salt, as if it doesn't even exist. She grabs him without any effort and viciously bites into his neck, killing him within seconds. Completely horrified, Chloe and Ryan barely manage to escape with their lives. Realizing that running away will never stop the curse, they decide to return to the apartment building one final time. Their only hope is to complete the elevator game properly and close the portal to the terrifying red dimension before the ghost claims even more victims. Following the ritual exactly as instructed, Chloe and Ryan once again enter the elevator and complete the sequence of floors. This time, the doors open to the terrifying red dimension. As they step outside, Ryan immediately spots Becky standing in the distance. Overwhelmed with emotion, he rushes toward his long-lost sister, believing he has finally found her. But Chloe quickly stops him. She realizes that nothing inside this cursed world can be trusted, and drags Ryan back toward the elevator before it's too late. Together, they step inside and manage to return to the world of the living. For a brief moment, it seems like they've escaped the nightmare. Their relief doesn't last long. Without anyone pressing a button, the elevator suddenly begins moving on its own and heads straight for the 5th floor. That's when they realize the horrifying truth. The woman on the 5th floor has no intention of letting either of them leave alive. As soon as the elevator reaches the 5th floor, Chloe can no longer control her fear. She instinctively opens her eyes. The very moment she looks at the ghost, the spirit attacks and kills her instantly, just as the legend had warned. Ryan desperately tries to stay calm, but then he hears Becky's voice calling out to him. Unable to resist, he opens his eyes as well. In the next instant, the world around him disappears, and he finds himself trapped once again inside the terrifying red dimension. This time, Becky is already waiting for him, and there's no way back. Sometime later, news channels across the country begin reporting the mysterious disappearance of a group of teenagers who were investigating the infamous elevator game. But instead of scaring people away, the tragedy only makes the legend even more popular. Curious content creators and thrill-seeking bloggers continue visiting the building, unknowingly offering new victims to the woman on the 5th floor, ensuring that her curse will continue forever. And with that chilling revelation, the film comes to an end.